So we know in Greater Manchester that we have a particular issue with alcohol compared to the national average. What we are trying to do here in Greater Manchester is something quite pioneering. We're rolling out the initiative, Communities in Charge of Alcohol, SEEKA, and what we're doing is training champions, alcohol health champions in every area across Greater Manchester to deliver brief advice and become involved in licensing decisions in their communities.
This FIT, Royal Society for Public Health, had programmes around alcohol awareness and community champions in other areas. Nowhere had really done alcohol-specific work, and actually I think people had decided that it was maybe too difficult to do almost, that alcohol was off the table in terms of people having conversations locally. So it felt like it was new ground, but with an issue that's a significant challenge for Greater Manchester.
It is a joint initiative between the Greater Manchester Combined Authority and the Greater Manchester Health and Social Care Partnership. The SEEKA programme sits within a raft of initiatives which are linked to asset-based and community-based initiatives. The motivation is if we can make a difference within Greater Manchester, if we can make Greater Manchester a better place to, be born and to grow up and to live and age well, then I think that will be, the best thing.
Well, I suppose for me, Communities in Charge of Alcohol grew out of a desire in Greater Manchester to look at tackling alcohol issues in a different way, and for the community to be empowered, for the community to take a lead, because actually we realised that not all, but a lot of the impact that we've had around services, whilst that's great, the community's going to play the next role in trying to really crack the problem that we've got.
Now, obviously, as a strategic lead from the council, I'm not seen as the right person to go working in the streets to help people make a decision about changing their lifestyles. However, if I skill or upskill the right people, they can have a direct impact on families, friends. And we're seeing that kind of even in short term. We've got particular champions within their own family settings are making huge differences at the moment. So I know that give the champions the right skill, the right support, the right training, and you've got something that's a very valuable asset in the community.
In Eccles Town Centre and Liverpool Road, life expectancy in Salford is around 8 to 10 years lower than the rest of Manchester, and a lot lower than the rest of the UK. The role of Salford Healthy Communities, which encompasses the communities in charge of alcohol, is to raise that life expectancy. People sometimes don't even meet the pension age, or if they do live longer, they're living longer with a long-term health condition and very unhealthily.
Social media was great. We got a lot of interest from social media, help from the Residents Association. So they were able to kind of post information that we wanted to get out there, and then that meant that people read it and then got in touch. So it's been like this real sort of stepped progress, really. From recruiting the first round of alcohol health champions, getting them trained up, and then recruiting the next group, and getting them trained up as well. So it feels like it's progressing steadily, and we're making really good links with the community as well.
The alcohol health champion course entails alcohol awareness, a completion of level 2 accredited qualification, information about licensing, and training the trainer how to do a presentation.
About talking to their friends and family first, come and do a bit of training, get involved with something positive, and it's a no pressure approach.
I think it's good because it's giving them some training, so it's helping them to improve their knowledge, expand on the knowledge, and give them the confidence then to be able to go and chat to other people in their community. I think it just adds that extra element to the programme, really, in so much as it gives people a qualification alongside doing something that they want to do.
The role of an alcohol health champion is to give brief advice to encourage people to be aware of how many units they're drinking and to signpost them to necessary services if needed.
I was working as a volunteer with Alcohol and Drug Service. After coming through that service myself, somebody used to be dependent on alcohol. So when I heard of the opportunity, I thought it was a great opportunity to help and possibly stop others from coming down the same route.
I think there's a mixed group of people. Some people are professionals already in this sort of work, so it can be continuing professional development for them. But I think for people who are in recovery, a lot of those people perhaps don't have any qualifications or they haven't done anything for a long time, so a lot of their education might be quite outdated. So I think if you've been in treatment and in therapy, just changing the way you're thinking and using your brain can be really helpful, and to get an accreditation after that is quite empowering, in my opinion.
At first I didn't think that I could actually do it because I have learning difficulties, I have dyslexia, and the way she sold it to me sounded something interesting and told me I would get help and support.
All of our champions will receive a level 2. The qualification will be accredited by the Royal Society of Public Health.
It all depends on what level people are at. You know, we have champions and volunteers who are very experienced in jobs and they literally have a solid idea of what they want to do. But very often it's about people who are making changes and want to get on. And I think it's, as part of a therapeutic alliance, it's all our responsibilities to help people move on to the next step. So it gives confidence, but it also then they think, right, this isn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And we can support them then to perhaps lead to more permanent or paid work. I
hope I'm making a difference. I really feel that I am, because I'm signposting people to services that they haven't been aware of. It's not just alcohol and drug services, it's mental health services or housing services we're pointing them to. I'm hoping that it's helping people, and then it's also helping them become aware of units and what alcohol can cause when people drink too much.
You build relationships and you build trust, and so to be able to help somebody or raise a question in a different area of their life, it really does work.
It's simple things really that you think you know, like units and stuff like that. You think you know them, you think you know what's what and how much you're drinking, but you don't until you actually write things down and look at, you don't know what you're drinking, you're not aware. And I certainly wasn't aware of what I was drinking until I did an Audit C, and it was like, oh, okay.
An Audit C is a scratch card which contains 3 questions around the subject of alcohol. You get a score on it between 1 and 4. You add the 3 scores together, which gives you a total, and then the total equates to an explanation that's on the back of the card. It's a very useful tool, but it's a tool that I will use without discussing the subject of alcohol. I will surreptitiously put it in on the back of another question, a more wider determinate holistic approach, and then once I've got the person engaged, it's a very easy tool to utilise, with it being a scratch card, and before you know it, you're collating data and expanding the subject around the area of alcohol without actually even saying it. It's a fantastic tool.
But what you can be is a person that can show care to them, and you can empathise with them and try and put yourself how they feel. And just a good listener is always the main thing with people that do this sort of thing. As with Salford Health Communities, I've always listened. And if you're a good listener, that's the main thing. If you can listen to somebody, it makes them feel 10 times better about themselves because you're listening.
I'm meeting such a variety of different people, and I've made some really good friends since doing the training. It's just been, yeah, it's given me a more self-confident perspective on life, I think. It's, you know, it's changed me and myself, knowing that I'm there and I can help others if they need or want some support.
Yeah, well, previously licensing has always been down to the council itself to either allow licensing to go ahead and allow somebody to have a licence. However, we feel that because of the the problems associated with alcohol in our community, it's an opportune moment for communities to get more involved in the decision-making process.
So there was a change in licensing laws, there was a booming student population in our area of Manchester, and the two together led to a rise in licensed premises and then a late night licence, which led to lots of nighttime problems for the local residents in terms of antisocial behaviour.
If nobody makes an objection, then quite often things are agreed because they wasn't objected to. And so for me, the realisation that actually every person in the borough has a really valid voice and a very powerful voice.
They've got a play detective role, basically. They've got to get their evidence, even if it means taking it over a long period of time and keeping it and recording it and making sure it's well documented.
Advise the community to get together with each other to start with so that you're not on your own, because usually if you've got a problem, other people are experiencing it as well. But then once you've got together and you've identified what your problems are, then go to your council, your councillors, and ask for help on what you need to do. But it's quite important to realise that you do have a say in where you live and what goes on. So if you've got an issue, it's worth getting involved to try and solve it.
But if they're genuine licensees and responsible, then it shouldn't give them anything to worry about whatsoever.
A lot of people think that things like that are too difficult, too challenging, too scary. So this course is giving people those initial steps, and then there is support. People do not have to do this on their own. Alcohol health champions do not have to do this on their own. They're part of the team, and they are protected.
Yeah, the challenge is getting people to engage with you. That's the learning curve. It's like being able to sell something. You go along to somebody and you try and sell it. They don't buy it. You have to go away, review, and approach it differently the next time. So that's been the challenge, the learning curve, learning how to engage people and keep them engaged.
Because a lot of people just look at a drunk person, they're disgusting, look at the statement, why they're there, they're just shameful, where if you get involved with something like this, you're going to look at them in a complete different picture and hopefully see that they're just a person that needs help, not somebody who's disgusting and awful, somebody who just needs your understanding.
I think because it's so simple and because it is literally a conversation, everyone can make a difference. It's just a conversation. You never know how many people you can impact on and change the course that the road that they're on.
Is that I'm learning about health and well-being, and it's something that I can teach my own children about it and the people that are nearest and dearest to me. It's opening up a complete area for me that I was walking around completely oblivious to. It's an opportunity to do good work, make an impact, work with good people, expand my own CV. And progress employment opportunities and just be part of something that's so revolutionary at the moment. The wave of feeling and the progressive, like-minded people that lead the industry at the moment, to be a part of it, it's an absolutely fantastic place to be at the moment.
We're having a lot of fun as well. Yeah, actually, yeah, and the alcohol health champions do as well. So there's a different approach in every town, I think, but we all have the same values, we all have the same attitudes about helping people, like I say, just move on. Somebody's next step might be they need a doctor. Other people's next step is, right, I've got my qualifications, I need a job, and everything in between. So, and in Rochdale, we like to have fun, yeah.
The ultimate outcome would be that actually we see some impact on hospital admissions, that we see some impact on criminal justice resources in terms of the police, and that we see some impact on things like ambulance call-outs, all of that sort of stuff. But I've got to be honest, I think it's easy to get sort of fixated on that. They're really important, and they're the ultimate aims of the evaluation. I think for me, coming and seeing the rollout, it's the human aspect to what's actually happening in the room as people get this training, and the sort of positive impact on individuals, the champions who take part. And I think it won't take much for that to ripple out as well. And some of that might be more difficult for us to measure, but actually if you come into the sessions and you see what's happening, it's not difficult to see.
We don't know quite yet where this journey will take us, but we're already seeing successes. And if we take a step back from the sort of like the Greater Manchester point of view, it will be over to those communities and those individual alcohol health champions to make the success of the programme.
Great opportunity to learn and acquire knowledge that in the upbringing that I've had, that's just knowledge that wasn't prevalent. I never knew what a unit was. I didn't know how many units was in a pint. I didn't realise it was bad for you. I thought it was a good thing to be doing, and the same with a lot of other stuff. My primary motivation is to acquire skills and knowledge to transfer to my own children, to create a generation that's stronger than the one before. That's what it's all about for me.